down with Devan Robinson of Developing with Devan.
Hi.
Okay, so as I know, you are a woman-focused business. So please tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. So I run two different pieces of my business. I have women's empowerment and I have marketing. And at first look, they don't seem like they would go together. But when I started my business 5 years ago, the one thing I noticed is that women have a lot on their plates. Their mental load is ridiculously high. And then in the world, it's a little bit hard to have a typical 9 to 5 job and raise children and be the default parent and all the different things. Plus, women weren't willing to stand up for themselves as much as I would hope that they would. So I started a coaching business to try to help that, to help women with the mental load, with the mindset, with the confidence, with the self worth. And when those clients were coming to me, I recognized a lot of them were entrepreneurs. A lot of them were women who wanted to run businesses or were running businesses. And I had the skills to help them with more than just their mindset. I could help them market their business. I could help them stand out in this sea of so many different voices. And so that's where I leaned in. And it all kind of started because I was in a toxic job that kind of tore me down. I needed to have something that was my own and that I had some flexibility. And so I started my business, and that's kind of where it all stemmed from. And then I just saw the patterns and kept going and growing and adjusting to the needs of the people around me.
As you were just mentioning about helping women have their voices stand out among so many others, how do you do that?
So it started out for me in starting a women's summit. So 5 years ago, I hosted my first women's summit, and it was my small way of gathering women so they can get their voices heard, they can hear from other women, they can have a whole weekend to themselves. That was where it started. And what I recognized over the 5 years since I started my business is that there's one major issue that happens constantly, and it's that we talk crap about ourselves a lot, and the world does, and strangers do, and like it's just how powerful that those words are. And so, what I try to do to help women own their voice is one, to understand the power of their words, and two, to make sure that they're intentional with those words that they're using. So, when it comes to marketing, we make sure that we have clarity and we know who we're talking to, and we actually say what's on our mind, because that's what's going to make us stand out in this crowd of AI bots and people who are business gurus telling you to say all the same things. It's knowing who you are, what you want, and saying it with total authenticity. That's what's going to help you stand out in this world.
Yeah, that's true. Especially when you are like, as a woman, you are more of I feel like you get put sometimes in a negative spotlight, whether it's the way you look or how you present yourself. So being able to own your voice is crucial, that I wish more people understood.
It is. It's really tough because just society in general, and it's can't pin it on one specific thing, right? It's just there's these messages that are there that are telling you to be a certain way, to have these certain expectations. And it's especially hard on women because we see a lot of comments on our bodies and our looks and if we're moms or not. And that makes it difficult. And so being able to just live in your truth and show up how perfectly imperfect you are, that's a power in its own. And that's what we can do, not just in your regular day, but in your business as well.
Yeah. And it's when you start having more confidence in yourself,
Mm.
it's silencing that negative thought.
And a lot of times we're told there's a difference between confidence and cocky. And that right there tears you down a little bit too. So
Yeah.
just being confident in yourself, showing up, marketing yourself in a way that is authentic. It's just, those are really the key. And I feel like a lot of people say that, but they don't truly do that.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to be vulnerable, but it's important.
Yeah. Especially when you're raising kids, because you
Mhm.
want them to see, obviously you don't want your kids to see all of your struggles, but you want them to see enough to know that like it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay for that. So your marketing piece, which is something you're helping us with at the WLDC, how do you think that you bring the most value to these businesses?
Sure. So when it comes to marketing, I am really good at seeing what you're not saying. So when you explain to me what's going on, you have these goals and all these things, I'm really good at reading between the lines so I can put together something that really aligns with what you're saying, even all the pieces that you're not saying. So like with you with this stuff that we're doing right here with the videos, we know that's part of a bigger plan. And that's really the strategic piece of marketing is it's a bigger plan. It's a long run because if you every single piece you do, they compound together to make something more. And I think a lot of people struggle with marketing, thinking it's just social media or it's just this or it's just that. But really, it's all the pieces put together. And that's what I help bring to the table is we take a big picture look and we make sure that all the pieces are part of the puzzle. So we have videos, we have social media, we also have boots on the ground stuff, flyers, going into coffee shops, networking events. Like, you have to do it all but within reason, right? So
Yeah.
knowing that it aligns and you have a plan and you can reach for these big goals and that it takes time, that is all key.
Which, like, as you offer the CEO day, that for me was one of the best things because my brain, there's so much I want to accomplish. And you were able to just narrow it down and be like, okay, let's focus on this, or we can do this. And you help make it happen, which I don't think, I also don't think businesses put enough value in marketing, which I think is
It's a
sometimes,
struggle.
yes. And because when people open a business, they're experts on what they do. And that's one of the best things about people like what you do and Amanda Stipple is that you guys can play roles without that. You're the
Right.
experts that we can bring in. And I think that's amazing that we have that, especially locally right here in Watertown, where
Yeah.
you're not sourcing somebody from even Syracuse, because being able to have these conversations face to face is so important.
Yeah. The cool thing too is I can go into your store and I can take videos. I can go in and do talking head videos with you for reels because in case you weren't aware, those listening, video is where it's at right now. That's the way you're going to reach new people is through video. But that's the cool thing about finding someone local as well is that I can go in, take the pictures, take the videos, have a conversation with you, and then from there implement it as needed to the plan that we've put together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'm calling myself I don't like titles. Titles are like almost unnecessary because they can change and they can mean whatever you want. You can change it whenever you want. Like it doesn't really matter. So I've been playing around with fractional marketing director because I think that tells you exactly what I do. Because
Yeah.
when I think of like a CMO, I think high level, where a marketing director, I think high level and in the weeds. And I do both, right? So we're planning high level, but then I'm also the one taking the pictures, creating the content, and doing it all the pieces. So that's why I stuck with fractional marketing director. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I am a fan of that title because we all are, especially with all of our businesses that are, especially like in this building, we're very small teams. We're 1 to 2 people, or I think it's just so important that people realize that yes, we're small teams, but so you're getting, like when you meet with us, we're there through it all.
Yeah.
We're there from step one all the way up to, so I think that's so important for people to realize is that when they sign up with you, you're going to be there with them.
I'm part of the team.
Yeah.
I am now it's not a you, it's a we.
Even as far as like when it comes to marketing and our YouTube videos, you're helping, the questions, and you're there the day that we film, and you're the one that's going to be editing the videos. And I think people just see the finished product. We don't see everything that goes behind it and all the work that you do put into it. So I think that's important to note as well.
Yeah, there is a lot of pieces to it. And sometimes people could do it, like they could for sure DIY it, but sometimes it's just not worth it. It's just not worth the time to put into.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you could edit videos, I'm sure you could do it all, but there's other priorities, and that's why you have people doing different parts of the business.
And the best part is being able to have where you're contracting it out. It's not somebody you have on staff. It's still someone local that's able to come in and do all those pieces that somebody, if you had them on staff, could do.
It's more like freelance consultant-y type 1099 type people, rather than having to pay for all of the extra insurances and fees and all that to having an employee on staff. Yeah, exactly.
I think it's amazing, especially, and it gives you so much more, I think, experience too, because you're working with all these different types of businesses. And which that's one thing I love about my job every day, is it's always different. I'm going to get, that's one part you like too, that it's not stagnant. It's not, we're not doing the same thing every day.
Every day is different. Every day is different. And then I get to reach for new goals with every business. Every business has different goals. It's just really interesting to do that, the different pieces and the different things.
So I know we mentioned, though, I shouldn't say we, I know you mentioned the Women's Summit and how you have one coming up. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. I always want to talk about it. My Women's Summit is called Elevate. It's Elevate Summit. And this will be my 5th year. And we're actually doing it in Watertown this year, which is the first time. I did the first one in Niagara Falls. The second and third and fourth were in Syracuse. And now I'm moving it up to Watertown. I live here anyway, so it makes perfect sense. It was originally Syracuse because that was like a middle ground. There was a bigger airport, so I had more flights coming in. I do have people coming from California, Texas, South Carolina, Chicago. Like I have a variety of people coming in from outside as well as locals. So it was a nice middle ground. But I'm telling you, moving into Watertown, probably the best decision I've made. This is where I live. This is where I eat and see people. And so I'm excited that it's here in Watertown, and it's going to be on November 7th, 8th, and 9th. And I know you're going to be there because it's already on your calendar.
Yes, it is.
So it's going to be at the Hilton Garden Inn. And this year's theme is Your Voice, Your Power. And I'm going to have anywhere between 16 to 20 plus women speaking, hosting workshops, and hoping for around 100 women to join us. We're trying to keep it on the more intimate side, so I don't want it to be like a jam-packed conference center, but more like this is 100 women with intention who are going to be there for themselves, for the people around them, for their families, because when women grow, the community grows. So that is the weekend, and I'm very excited for it. 3 days, 2.5 days of just intentional time focusing on ourselves and on each other and learning and growing. And I'm just very excited about it. So
I can't wait. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah. There's a lot of new people coming this year that have already got their tickets. It's only May.
That's awesome, though.
I know. My marketing's working. So yeah, hire me.
No, and I love that, because that's just a lot, but also just you've helped me come up with a lot of the stuff that we're doing at the WLDC, and you've been a sounding board for me also, which our social media platform has been growing steadily over. It hasn't been a year. My goal is to hit 1,000 followers by the year.
You're close. You're so close. Okay.
I'm so excited. And hopefully we'll do a big giveaway for that one.
Yeah.
But you've been a huge help to us. So I think it's very important for people to realize how important marketing is, no matter how long your organization's been around. The WLDC has been around since 1982.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to note that.
Marketing changes literally every day.
Yeah.
But the things that don't change is relationship building. And that is a really key piece of marketing and getting out there and building those relationships. And I think that's what you do. That's what happens when you go to the chamber after hours, when you go to events like the block party, when you go and join boards. Like that's the piece of marketing that I think a lot of people forget about because they don't have time, but you have to prioritize some boots on the ground stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
Actually, with receiving the 20 under 40, I had to write up the interview. And that was the one thing that I had said is having people focus or not forget that those relationships that you think you're just like, oh, like that's just a friend of mine, but how crucial they can really be in the long
Mhm.
term. Because I wouldn't be where I am right now, if it wasn't for somebody I met up when I was working on Fort Drum. And he just was somebody like I talked to every single day. And he came up to me one day and was like, I have the perfect job for you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? And just so I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for just it wasn't even a coworker. He was just somebody that worked up on Fort Drum that we just talked every day. And
Yeah.
it's amazing how relationships that you create, how it just really does change your life.
Yeah.
And it's eye opening. And I wish people focus more on relationship building
Mhm.
because it's so important.
I think pretty much all of my clients have come from relationship building.
Yeah.
A few of them have come from social media, but most of them have come from relationships.
Yeah.
So that I think that's really pivotal.
Yeah. Even for us, like our lending, it usually comes from our strong relationship with Watertown Savings Bank.
Mm.
Or now that I've put a lot of focus on making sure we have a strong relationship with the SBDC, because I love them over there and I'm always talking to Debbie. But again, she's referring people, but it's because of the relationships that I have really
Mhm.
just created and had made sure to keep up on because,
Yeah.
for one, they're great people to begin with, and also the connections that it makes that we just don't put enough value in it, but it's so important.
Yeah, for sure.
So we have all of this beautiful equipment sitting in front of us. Do you want to tell us
Yes.
why?
Oh, if you couldn't tell, me, I host a podcast with my bestie, Kelsey DeRue, who is a local makeup artist, esthetician, permanent tattoos, permanent makeup and tattoos. So she does a lot of things. She's amazing. So her and I co-host a podcast called The Two Besties with the Mic. And I guess it's technically two mics, but we're not gonna put two besties with two mics. That'd be weird. And
Yeah.
so we have that on Spotify and Apple Podcast, and we talk a mix of marketing, life, motherhood, personal growth. It's talk show style, just our little side of the internet that we enjoy talking on. So that's my little spiel for that. Go listen.
Yes, I have actually put it many times while driving back and forth to work. So hopefully I'm getting your views up there.
Thank you. Yes.
I do what I can. So if somebody was wanting to reach out to you, so you could be their marketing guru because you're amazing, how do they find you?
So they can go to my website, developingwithdevan.com, developing with Devan, Devan, because I know everyone gets confused. It's fine. It's my mom's fault. Just blame her. I like it though. So developingwithdevan.com, and you can just go right there, or you can email me, Devan at developingwithdevan.com. And that's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. Follow me on Instagram. Also, the same thing, developing with Devan. That is me everywhere. And if you're interested in coming to the summit does have its own Instagram or Facebook, and it's Elevate Summit NY. And that's where you can go for those two.
Thank you for sitting down.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.